Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm the King, and welcome back to the channel. It's beginning to look a lot like the developer update is coming out tomorrow. Oh my. I woke up at 11, I opened my phone, and I seen all of these notes, and I was blown away. I'm finally up and ready to record this and talk to you guys about some of these amazing changes that are going to be coming out in tomorrow's PTB, and then soon in maybe 3 or 4 weeks to the public. This is a huge developer update with a lot of stuff. We're going to go over everything right now. We're also going to be talking about this on our Twitch channel. As you guys know, we've been pushing for a partner, and every day you guys are coming out showing your support. So if you guys want to help, please click on the link in the description. We just need 75 people, and every day we're getting really close. So please, guys, come on out. I would really appreciate it. Let's not ramble on about Twitch. We're here to talk about the developer update. So there are a few things. We're going to read over this and talk about our opinions on everything. And yeah, let's just get started. We're back with another developer update, a series of blog posts detailing various changes coming to Dead by Daylight in the near future. In this entry, we'll be going over some of the most notable changes from the upcoming mid-chapter patch. Now keep this part in mind where it says most notable changes, which means there might be some more changes. I'm going to say that now because as you read through these notes, you're going to realize that some things might be a little off, and we'll save that for tomorrow. So repair changes are the first thing here. This is huge, guys, so listen up to this. We've been keeping a close eye on repair speed in recent months and have prepared some changes to repairing. This comes in the form of 2 changes. Number 1 is reduced efficiency when repairing with other survivors. As you may have noticed, whenever another survivor comes along and starts repairing a generator with you, your generator meter turns red to indicate that you're repairing slower. This is because each survivor working on the same generator, your personal repair is decreased by 10%. Going forward, the speed reduction for each additional survivor is being raised to 15%. While this may seem like a small change, it's the difference between 4 survivors finishing a generator in about 36 seconds compared to the current 28 seconds. So this is going to give us 8 more seconds of time, and it seems small, but when you think about it, a generator goes by really quickly. They're finally addressing the gen speed problem in Dead by Daylight. Next up, they have skill check bonuses. A successful great repair skill check would add an additional 2% progress to the generator, about 1.6 seconds worth of time saved for each great skill check. Experienced survivors are often able to consistently hit great skill checks and shave a significant amount of time off the generator. To better control the repair times of generators, this bonus has been halved to 1 or 0.8 seconds. Oh, beautiful changes. So they're not adding time like everybody was suggesting to make generator times better. Instead, they're just making it less efficient for multiple survivors working on the generator together. So you guys can all work on the generators by yourself, get the same amount of time, or work on it together with people, except it won't be as fast. So if 4 people get on a gen and you're halfway across the map and it just pops, you can actually have some time now to combat this. They also said to make sure that experienced survivors feel rewarded after hitting great skill checks, the amount of points earned has now been doubled from 150 to 300. So you're still going to get your points, and they also did some perk changes for those of you guys that are already typing that are like, oh, this is unfair to survivors. These 2 perks will now help you in that. Prove Thyself has increased the repair speed bonus from 10 to 15, so if you want to get that additional speed, you would have to use Prove Thyself. And Stakeout now increases the great skill check success zones bonus from 1 to 2%. So this way, even if you're saying, oh man, this is so silly, you can have these perks, use these perks, and by using these perks, you'll essentially have what it was before this patch. This is beautiful. I can talk about this in a whole video itself and say how amazing this actually is, but we can just let this sit for now until we actually try it out tomorrow before I jump the gun and say this is amazing, and then it's just, I'm really happy, I'm really excited, but there's even more. This is probably one of the best updates I've seen in a long time. Map changes. Now, originally, I was thinking one map was going to get changed, like the treatment theater, when they updated all the graphics and made it all better. They probably are more than likely to just upgrade all of their graphics as well and just do it across multiple maps by upgrading these tiles, but let's see what they're actually doing. For the 3.7.0 update, we have taken some time to revisit some existing maps and update them using the new tools we have at our disposal and everything we've learned since the game first launched. We reviewed as many maps as we could in this update. But if you don't see a particular map below, it's always possible that we'll revisit them in the future. These are the changes that will come in different forms. Number 1, size and layout. Each map has a unique size and layout, for some larger than others, taking a long time to cross. Some of these maps have been reduced in size, while others are having their layout adjusted. So that's already amazing. So maps are going to be completely different size. Some of them are going to have their layouts adjusted. This is going to be great. So smaller maps, more pressure for killers. Type spacing. Some maps allow maze tiles. Some maps allow maze walls to spawn too close to each other, allowing an experienced player to link them together, making it incredibly hard to capitalize on a survivor's mistake. These tiles are being spaced further apart to better control the safety in some of the maps. So now, if you can think back on some random spawns where you're like, oh my god, here's a jungle gym, here's a L wall T wall, and you just run straight to them and the killer can literally do nothing, this will no longer do that. And survivors will have to work a little bit more harder and utilize a little bit more pallets and be a little bit more experienced and not rely on these things. And yeah, it's gonna be great. Next, we have strong window balancing. These are the infinites that we call them, the infinites, on some of the maps like Torment Creek, Macmillan Ironworks. A bunch of maps have these. So certain windows on some maps are too safe, leaving no room for mind games and forcing the killer to chase the survivor through the window 3 times in order to block it. This is true. We have done a pass on most of these windows and altered the loop or placed them. Oh, this is just like music to my ears. And finally, we have tile tweaks. Some tiles have been changed for a variety of reasons, such as adjusting loop lengths or fixing abusable spots. So, before you jump the gun and say Dead by Daylight is turning killer sight, etc., etc., this is just balance changes. You know, I don't want anybody being like, DBD's taking killer sights like they always do, here we go, or anything like that. About a month ago, if you don't recall, Ruin, the strongest killer perk in the game, was completely negated, and we received a bunch of different things. We got breakable walls, etc., etc. I've always said this, and I will continue to say this: Dead by Daylight only puts updates out that are going to balance the game on both sides. I'm sure we all can agree that infinite looping was something that truly broke the game. You know, you just had to go 3 times, as I mentioned here, until you get the survivor and block up that loop, and then you could just run to any of the walls. This is why there's a lot of killers that stopped playing, all of the OG people and things like that. This is why people get burnt out. And obviously, there's still a long way to go to adjust balancing. If you recalled my interview with Matthew Cote, he himself said there will never truly be balance in an asymmetrical horror game, which is true. But every day, they're working very hard to achieve something that's better than the last previous version. And I believe this is one of the best updates that they're going to be putting out so far. And keep in mind as well, every time they put one of these updates out, they always have a trick up their sleeve, and there's something that we don't see. They're doing something now so that in the future, it's going to all make sense, such as the Ruin changes. Remember when we got those Ruin changes and everyone was flipping out and saying we're never playing Killer again, and queue times are dipping and things like that, and then we had breakable walls being introduced into the game, and now from breakable walls, we have these breakable walls being incorporated in stronger loops. It all lines up. It just takes them a little while to put it all out. They don't just want to drop it all on us. But I will continue. Enough with my rants. Let's continue because we still have a lot of patch notes to go through. Window spotting logic. Some buildings feature a window variation where a different set of windows could be available for one match to the next. Depending on which windows are open, a building could either be incredibly safe or unsafe. The random element of these windows are being disabled on some maps to control the loop safely and give the buildings a consistent safety rating. Now, here are the actual changes to all of these maps. This one just says window logic. I can put myself over here for now. So we have Random Fields, Wretched Shop, all of the other maps, and the first ones have type spacing, which means like all of the standard loops are going to be adjusted, and wherever the loops are, they're going to be readjusted so they're not back to back to back. On the maps that you're seeing, these are normally the ones that have them. They also adjusted the size for Rotten Fields, Fractured Cowshed, Thompson House, Records Yard, and the Temple Irrigation. Very interesting stuff. The strong loops fix are on Wretched Shop. Oh, that is beautiful. You guys know that Wretched Shop loop. It is atrocious. They've also had the one on Fractured Cowshed. They also had the one on Suffocation Pit. That is with the actual Suffocation Pit itself. Badham Preschool had one by the windows. Torment Creek had one, Rancid Abattoir had one, Cold Tower had one, Groaning Storehouse had one, Grim Pantry had one, and Ironworks of Misery had one. They also adjusted some tiles. As you can see, they reduced the pallets on the disturbed ward, so inside the actual building, and they adjusted window logic on Wretched Chapel just needed, and Suffocation Pit. This is truly amazing. And let's go back to the patch notes now. They also gave us some images of what these look like. If you can look right here, you'll see that there's a breakable wall normally where the vault is, so survivors would eventually try to loop around here, but this is very unsafe. You don't have to break this wall either. You can keep it up if you like. They also had this one on Torment Creek, where this is now completely gone. There's a pallet there now, so you can run through here and loop through here and then maybe come in here. It's still viable. It's not completely broken for survivors. You don't have to break this at all, unless this is open. It looks like it might be already open, so if it's already open, that's fine. Then we have this one, which is amazing. This one is, because normally when these spawn, you have to walk all the way around. Now it's just open on both sides, and if they try to loop, you won't be able to continuously loop. Moving on, we have controller sensitivity improvements. Now, before I jump on into this, I made a video talking about crossplay. I made a video 4 months ago talking about crossplay, and I said if crossplay were to come, they would need to do something about controller sensitivity. They are doubling the sensitivity to 200% speed, so that way you can move and turn as much as you can. I said that it's very difficult for killers to play because of the sensitivity on controller, and now it's going to be almost identical to PC. Does this mean we're going to get crossplay? We'll save it for another video. We'll talk about that later, but they're definitely taking the steps in order to achieve that, the correct steps that they will need to do. Let's move on to that. Various quality of life improvements. These are just some smaller quality life changes. Legion tracking. While Feral Frenzy is activated, the Legion will not see blood pools or scratch marks until their fatigue ends. In the next update, the Legion will now regain their tracking abilities as soon as Feral Frenzy ends, rather than the end of their fatigue. This should help prevent chases where you lose track of survivors while fatigued. They gave some feedback on the attempt to hook escape. They head-on UI were implemented. They updated the Mori interaction so you can no longer Mori spam, so that's great. Survivors won't have to deal with that toxic stuff. And further protection hits improvements. So that is pretty much it, and they confirmed right down here, which starts tomorrow on the 7th, so make sure you guys are subscribed for all of that. Now remember what I said at the beginning, when I said the notable changes. As we know, last time we got changes to the Doctor. This time we didn't get changes to any killer. That can most likely be because they reworked almost every map that they have. Now, they could have still reworked a killer or some add-ons and not have put it in, and it's a little bit of a surprise. I don't know. Fingers crossed to that, but I don't think so. But the Legion can still get some improvements and some changes. The Huntress can still get some improvements and some changes. We'll have to wait until tomorrow to find out. They might have changed Eerie Head and some of the add-ons. Who knows? I don't know. We'll talk about it all tomorrow. We're going to be live on Twitch. We're talking about these changes and all of these things. Again, we're pushing for partners, so if you guys come out, it will mean the world to me. Thank you guys all for watching this video. Amazing update coming to Dead by Daylight. I'm excited to hear what you guys think about this in the comments below. Let me know. And as always, I'm the King. I did my crown to you guys, and we'll see you in the fog.